welcome back to Banter of the Geeks. Today join me for an unboxing video. Today, as you probably see in front of us, we have the Guards of Traitors toll, and this was the pack, the full pack with the main game and the add-on Busy Streets and the roster, and there should also be a dwarf miniature in there somewhere, which I ordered straight from Grey For Now Games because I had a little offer on to save a bit of money. It also comes with some special edition dice, which is because they ran out of the other dice and they had some special edition ones, so I think they both have the sticker on, so we'll take a look at those. As you can see, quick look. So the game that's been getting a lot of reviews recently, and I got interested and wanted to have a look at it. So we have the roster sheet here. I won't spend much more time on this, but you get quite a lot of rosters in there. As you can see, I don't know how many exactly, but there's a quite thick pad's worth. And we may as well start by opening up the main box. And we'll take a look at what's inside. So we have ourselves some sprues. We have some bases, which are the Warriors Atlantic bases, same ones that came with Baron's War. I won't be using them, but I will keep all of them because they are really cool and I will use them for a different project. So it's quite useful. There's no reason why you can't use them, but I just won't be doing. We have here, this looks like civilians to me at first glance. That's a civilian sprue. And we have another one. So it should be, I think, is it 24 civilians in this box? Yeah, there's 6 on a sprue, 4 sprues, that's 24. The other 2 sprues should be guards, which it is. One of the guard sprues, and then the other guard sprue. We also have a ton of tokens on that. And we have ourselves the rulebook. Okay, and we have ourselves, oh, there's the special edition dwarf. I'd wonder if it had been not packed for some reason, but there he is. He's a resin model. We should take a look while we're here. With little base. There is the resin model. Looks pretty cool to me. And then what else did we have? We had the special edition dice and some cards. So that is the dice. They're pretty much just reverse colours of the original ones. And there are the cards. They're just sort of standard playing size cards by the looks of it, so hopefully they'll go into the card sleeves that I've got. And we have this box, which is useful if you don't have a box keeping them in, for actually storing them in. There we go. Let us have a look at these cards. So here we have the different cards. I've put them into different piles. One set of cards is called Secrets, and that's as much as I'm showing you them. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. I don't want to spoil it for myself. I will put these in protective sleeves, but when I'm doing so, I won't be reading them either, so I want them to be a secret, so I'm not going to read it for anybody else, but they're there, so I'm going to move them out of the way. We have advanced cards, which I believe are like experience things you can give to your guards later on, and we have a bunch of those just as an example. This one's called Weapons Drill. There we go. I'm not going to spend any more time looking through those. We have plot cards. Again, I'm guessing some of them have training on, so then there is a training mission in the book. I only know that because I actually did get the PDF for it as well, and I've been having a quick look. So there's those ones that say training cards on them, and those ones that say plot cards on them. I'll show you one of the training plots. There shouldn't be too much of any kind of spoiler. But that's what a training number 1 looks like, suspicious crates. And I'll probably do a playthrough and probably try and video it, so you might see some stuff in there as well. We have trait cards. So these are how you modify your guards. so you can sort of like make them lithe or heavy or wily, and you can see each one will deduct a feature and add a feature. So you can, this is how you can sort of customize your guys from just being normal rank and file, skittish. And that's the other use for the roster pad, because if you've got the roster pad and you've got them all written down, you wouldn't need to keep all these. You could just say write Thug on it and then make the modifiers, and then you can keep the cards to one side. And that way you could have multiple people who were clumsy, for instance. Let's move those out of the way. So we get on to these cards here, which are identify cards. So these are going to be important for actually making the models, because this is how we are going to, what we're going to be using the civilian models for. So if you don't know, these are basically a whole set of instances that were, for instance, Arcane and Skull and Orb. That basically means when you're looking for somebody, you'll be identifying a model that kind of looks like a wizard who's got a skull or an orb on. And you roll for these randomly. These are for suspects, and that's why it's good to have a big collection full of different looking civilian models, which we'll go into later in this video, because I've got a blown up version of this so I can tick them off. But for now, those are the identify cards. And then we have our recruitment cards. So these are, we recruit our guards. So we have guard captain and constable and guard constable, and each of these little symbols on the top, I'm not sure, there we go, that's what I'm looking for. Guard constable card. So these are all slightly different. Then we have guard captain with the different symbols on there. These, I think these are different patrons that they can have. Not quite sure. It goes into a bit more of this in Busy Streets, so we'll have a look at that again in a minute. I'm going to unbox them both together. Guard constables, there we go. And then we have ones that don't have the little symbols on, which will all become clear. And we have ranged weapons, 1 point for ranged weapons, and then mounted, attack animal. So these are all things you can upgrade your guys with. I think it doubles the cost for, is it 1 point extra? No, yeah, it doubles the cost, whichever one it is, if you put it on your guard captain, as opposed to normal constable. So those are the recruitment cards, and that's how you basically recruit one of your teams. And you can play this game solo, so you can just build one squad. I'll build one on the camera to show you what they look like, and then I'll build the civilians as well to show you how I'm sort of making them look varied. I'm going to use some of the kits as well that I've been looking at. I've got some halfling models, which are also War Games Atlantic, just to mix them in and make them look a bit different. And then we have the dice. These are the special edition dice, which I had the option of getting so I could get it sooner. I actually quite like them. I like the reverse colours. I do actually have a set of the Traitors Guard original dice that I got from, when they said the dice were out of stock, I thought, I'll better get some more dice. I actually ordered some where I could find them, which was on Firestone Games. And that's what they look like, if you didn't know. They're just the reverse colours. Those are the standard dice with the purple larger dice, and then the sort of white with purple dots d6. So the special editions are just reversed. And what that is, that's just a Magic the Gathering commander case. So I'm going to put all the cards in there, and it has this nice little drawing there as well, which is quite cool. So I should dump those in there so you can see them together. I do quite like the special edition dice actually. There we go. And I'll have another set in the Busy Streets expansion, I think. So let's have a look in that as well, then everything is out and I can start sorting it out. So the Busy Streets box. Again, we have some bases. And we have ourselves, so these are the guards. So we've got 2 guard sprues. And we have 2 civilian sprues. So plenty of those. We also have ourselves another set of tokens, another set of dice, and we have ourselves a whole bunch more cards. So the cards are the main difference in the set. We'll take a look at those. So these are the different cards in the Busy Street set. We have a bunch more recruitment cards with the different patron symbols on. You see there. They do have different stats, so like the others as well, you can customise your characters a little bit more. We have another set. I don't know the names of the patrons yet, so you have to bear with me. And then we have Guard Sergeants, which is the new unit the new model that comes in this. Which is a model that comes with an upgrade card and different set of stats. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of those cards there, each with a different patron shield on as well. And then we have more ranged weapons, mounted attack animals, etc. Same as in the first set. We also get 2 more identify cards, so you can have a 3 to 4 player game, and everybody then gets their own identify card that they can use as a little help sheet. We have more plot cards, which again, a couple of them are like this, not spoil too much, there we go. A couple of them look like that. I don't know if the original did, again I haven't had a proper look through them. We have some more secret cards, which again I'm not showing you. We have our, we have advanced cards, like we had in the first one. We have our trait cards, which I do believe are slightly renamed, but again follow the same thing of giving +1 and a -1, so it balances out. And then we have these injury cards, which are new. I assume as you go along in the campaign, people can be injured because there seem to just be minuses on there. And then, so we have these patron cards. So it's very specific to different patrons. I think these are different things you can achieve during a game if you are belonging specifically to one of those patrons. Just to give you an example, there are 4 different ones for 4 different patrons. I had to have a look through them properly to see which ones I like. Colour scheme wise, I kind of like all the colour schemes, so I'll probably be doing those 2 just to start off. But I'll probably make a set for each just for some variation. And there we go, that is essentially what you get in the Busy Streets. It's mainly more cards with more options on, so you can sort of customise your guys a bit more. So with that in mind, I'm ready to go and start building these, so we'll move on to where I'm actually making them, and we'll start putting some of these guys together. Okay, so we are back. I have stuck the dwarf onto a base. So what I'm doing for these bases, I have a load of these 25mm bases from Warbases UK. I printed off a load of base toppers, cobblestone style base toppers. I cannot remember the name of where I got them from. I've had them for a little while. I just found them in my library and my manufacturer and I thought they'll do nicely. And I've stuck the dwarf on already. I've previously been playing around with some of the halfling sprue from Wargames Atlantic, making some potential halfling guards. These aren't necessarily finished. I might put some bits on them from the other sprues as we go along. This guy will not be a guard, he will be a rogue, which I'll get to in a second. And I did 3D print a couple of things. This is from Crooked Dice. It's actually free on my mini factory, if you recognise the reference from Willow there. I thought it was quite a cool model. Should make a good guard, or a guard captain even. And I wanted to print her off, see what the scale was like. So that is kind of what the scale comes out as. I also have a random halfling. Again, I can't remember where I got this from on the store. But she'll be just used as a civilian in the background. So when we're building, I've done a blown up version of this as well. This is what we're trying to build from the civilians pack. And I'm going to start with the civilians, I think, because there's a lot of them, and I'm going to have to build them all. I think what I've tried to briefly explain before, on the identify card, when we're rolling randomly, we're trying to look for civilians that have certain things. So when I said rogue before, this guy, who's a halfling, he has a bow. So if you look on here, he would fill the category ranged weapon, or any particular rogue, fighter or ruffian. So when we're rolling to identify, we'll roll for a general column, so it could be arcane, expensive, costume, weaponry, tools of perform. So if we'd rolled a 2 and we'd rolled a 5, we'd have been able to pick this guy or any other guy who has a weapon, a ranged weapon, and it would be classed as a fighter, sort of that sort of class. If you roll 6, it's rogue, fighter or ruffian, so it's anybody who falls under that category. So essentially you're going to have 5 potential selection, different selections. The 6 can be anything from that category. So you're looking there, you're looking at 30 different kind of civilians that you want, and you probably want more than one of each. So in theory, you're probably going to want 2 of each type. So you're looking at potentially even 60, between 30 and 60 civilians, or at least that's what I'd like to have. So I've got plenty to move around in the base game. You get 24, which is just enough. Sorry, and then with the you get 36 in the base game, 24 in the busy streets, and then so you've got quite a few, as we can see, sprues there. We've got 6 sprues with 6 guys, if I've added that up right. There we go. So we're going to build all these, plus there'll be extra civilians. Like I said, I'm going to build them going along, so I might throw a few of those in. I've got a few different kits. Like I said, I was showing you the halfling kit. I want to see what else I can build from it. So as I'm going to go along, I'm going to tick them off here, and then I know I've got at least 1 for each, preferably 2 for each of these categories. So that's what I'm going to use as my guide as I'm going along. But for now, let's just build some random civilians from one of the civilian sprues. And like all War Games Atlantic sprues that I've built so far, they've all got puddle bases, which I don't like. It's fine with the bases that come in the box, because you can flip them over to that side, and the puddle base will sit in there, and it will sit flush. So if you put in any sort of gravel in there, or any kind of textured paint that you're going to build up, or any green stuff or anything like that, you can just, the puddle base will kind of be covered by the edge of this lip, and that's what it's designed for. So you can switch it that way around if you want, you can turn it that way around if you want to hide the puddle base a bit. But I don't want to do either of those. I want these cobblestone bases, so the puddle base has to come off on the ones I want. And that's going to end sort of like, that's not even the civilian sprue, what I'm talking about. That's the civilian sprue. So again, puddle bases. But what we want to do is I'm going to cut these off. I'll be cutting them off using a knife, and where I can cheat, I'll be using the clippers, because I can't think of a better way to cut them off, honestly. Hopefully, like this one doesn't have a lot of ground attachment. This one has loads. The halflings I was doing, they've got feet obviously, so yeah, they've got loads of ground attachment. So I'd rather they hadn't done them on puddle bases, but it's the way it is. And we do have a lot of things on these sprues, so they are quite nice for a wide selection of things. Noticed there's a fan, I didn't see that on the pictures. That's great, because there's one of the things is specifically a fan. Obviously these have been made specifically by War Games Atlantic for the game, so I was hoping most of the options are going to be on there, if not all, but we'll find out. So let me cut some of these guys off, and let's build some civilians. So there are a lot of options on the civilian sprue, so a few that have just built just off one sprue. We have someone there with a mop and bucket. There's no mop head or anything like that, but there is like a little thing in the bucket. All I've done is cut that down a little bit. That can be used as a staff or a mop or a broom or whatever you like. So we've got someone into the tools category. Someone else in the tools category. Someone would be like an old prospector or something, so I gave him a mining pick and a sack. Maybe he's got some ore in there. A little satchel for his other goods. And I also built a performer with a fan. There we go. And we have a couple of nobles. This guy here. I want to make it look a bit of an older sort of gentleman. Need to pay for some goods. So he's got his posh stick, and he's got his little coin out, and obviously wearing some noble clothes. And then a younger female noble off on a mission. There, she's got a gem in her hand, sort of a necklace on, looks quite expensive, and a little tiara. So she covers a couple of the points on there, but essentially noble. And then there's this guy. So I was going to make this guy fishmonger, and because he's very similar to one of the models that's built in the book, and thought it was pretty cool. So I put the jaunty hat on and the old overalls. I gave him some stuff, and then I remembered on the Baron's War scenery sprue there were some sausages. I thought I could turn him into a butcher. So that's the first modification I've made where I've not used just that civilian sprue. And I've given him some sausages instead of a fish, and I like that. That was pretty cool. So I've got a butcher. So essentially, that's what I've been doing, just building some random civilians. So I'm going to go ahead and build a bunch more. I'm going to add in other things as well. I did find a model I printed off a while ago, put him on. Yeah, we've got like a gnome mage, so he can count as a performer. I did find this druid. Again, I can't remember where I got this from. They're all 3D printed ones that I've printed. I think this one was free. I can't remember where it was from. But yeah, she can count as one of the arcane ones with a staff. And I also had some Wargames Atlantic Ranger bodies I'd printed off for this purpose, because I knew there'd be lots of bits left over. So I've printed off an extra body, and then I've used some of the parts on there, and I've basically made an arcane guy who's got a telescope. I thought he looked pretty cool. He's on some business, telescope in hand, and stuff like that. So I've printed off a few extra bodies. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the sprue for the guards. I'm going to build some random guards. I want to see what I can just build off the top of my head before I go and think about what I want to give them. I just want to see what I can build from one sprue. So I'll be back in a moment. So these guys are built from one of the guard sprues. We have ourselves our guard captain. And simple sort of sword and shield combo, fancy hat. I've not decided who's going to be for yet. I just wanted to build some models and then I'll allocate them where. They might even be going the same guard squad when I'm finished, because a few of them have got different styles of helmets. This guy, for instance, we've got a crossbow. You can only have 2 ranged people in a unit. There's only one I've built here, but I do have some, like I said, some hobbits, some halflings that I've built up. They do have bows and stuff, so these guys might not be on the same unit, like I said. We'll decide that when I build some more guards, I think. So I've built a guard with a lantern and halberd. Yeah, I cut this down a little bit just so it would fit better on this base, because it's more of like a angle than this otherwise. But that's fine. We have another guard with a mace. She's also got, it kind of looks like a grappling hook more than I suppose you could just count it as chains or some sort of hook for tripping people up or even climbing gear. I thought it looked pretty cool. And then we have this guy who's just quite burly, double-handed weapon. He's holding out his hand like, right, give it or else. I don't know whether he's getting a thief to hand him back something before he decides to chop them too, or maybe he's even taking a bribe, who knows. We've not decided on the character yet. And then we have this guy here. Yeah, he's got an axe and a rope. So we'll just build them how we wanted. I did also have, like I said, some extra bodies. I just used some random parts to build this sort of like over bulky looking elf person who's carrying a warrant and takes themselves too seriously. Maybe got too many clothes. see what that one looks like when it's painted up. And then I think, I don't know if you saw that one at the beginning, but there's also this halfling here with this sort of halberd bill hook type thing going on. So yeah, so I've just been building some guards. So I'm going to go ahead and build some more guards, and I'm going to build some more civilians. And then when I come back, what we're going to do, we're going to have a look at building, well, 2 guard squads for use in the game, and what their points costs would be. You don't necessarily have to use points costs in the game. You can just use like a quick setup rules, but I'm going to points cost them up just to see what that would look like. So when I come back, we shall have a look at that. So hey guys, just reference, these are all the cards. I'll just laid them out like this. I know you can't really see them on the camera because I'd have to zoom in. But just to clarify, these are the cards from the start set and the Busy Street sets. Now what I've done, I'm going to be making 2 squads, which is where I've sort of lined them up here. It is worth noting, it was only when I started to do this I realised that the actual guard captain cards are all completely different stats. So it's worth, if you are going to do one of the colour schemes, making sure that it's the one that you want as well with the stats, because the guard captains are all different, as are the sergeants, as are the constables. So they have different sets depending on which little shield icon is at the top. The other ones that are different are these 4 guard cards, which have no shields other than the points cost at the top. And they are still different stats, you can see, but they don't have the little shield icons. So I've gone ahead and I've built some models. It's actually been a little bit, I can't speak. It's been about a week since I started this video. So in between I've actually got the ogres sprue and decided to build a few of the ogres, as well as been building some more of the citizens. I've also used the man-at-arms sprue from Baron's War to build a mounted guy. I'm going to build a few more, but I just wanted to stop there just to, as I was laying them out, I just noticed, oh yeah, they're all different, so I need to pick which squad I want before I paint them. Now these guys, this is the red and yellow squads, you can see up there. And I'm going to keep that colour scheme for this guys. I don't know why I'm going to do it to half and half or quarters, but that's the colour scheme. These guys are going to get a different colour scheme. These ones have all got the oops, damn it, it's not a video if I don't drop something. They've all got the men-at-arms style. I call them men-at-arms, I don't know why. I think because I always see men-at-arms with these kinds of helmets. They've all got this style, whereas the other team have random helmets and a bit more random looking. These guys are a bit more uniform. And for these I'm going to be using this, but they're going to be having their own colour scheme. I'm just going to be using these cards for the whatever the black and yellow striped ones are. Are they black? I think so. So there we go. So I'll come back. I'm going to get rid of the cards I'm not using, and I'm going to come back with the roster sheet, because I'm going to add them into a roster sheet. I'll probably add in some of these trait cards just to modify them a little bit. So I've got a few halflings in there and obviously an ogre. So I want to make the ogre heavy and the halflings maybe lithe. So we'll have a look in a minute. So I put together one of the 2 guard rosters that I'm doing for solo play, just for reference. Here we are. I've not named any of them yet. I have just put down the relative stats and points costs and what they actually are armed with. What we have here is basically a solo player squad, which is up to 10 models and up to 45 points that you can spend. So we have a captain who is here. There is the captain. And just reference, that is his card. So he comes in at 6 points, and the attack animal is 1 point, but for 2 it's 2 points because it's with the captain. I need a model for an attack animal. I haven't got one yet. I'm going to try and find some suitable dogs or something like that to print off. That's the one thing I'm still lacking as far as the guards are concerned. Then we have the guard sergeants. who was in the Busy Streets expansion. I picked a random applicable, say random because the first couple I pulled out you couldn't have, so random skill was Veiled Threats, and he also has the Thug ability which will modify his stats. So when we're looking at that on here, we've modified the stats down. So initially we would have started with 3, 3, 4, 4, 3. And then we've added on the Thug trait, which has added +1 to his own ability and a -1 off his will ability. So it goes 4, 3, 4, 3, 3. Yeah. He also has that Veiled Threats ability as well, total cost 5 points. And so on. We've gone through, we've got the constables. Then we have a constable who's got a ranged weapon, which is +1 for the ranged weapon. So in a normal 2, 3, 4 player game, you can only have 2 ranged weapons. In a solo player game, you can have up to 4 ranged weapons. I've only got 2 guys anyway with ranged weapons. I could have had more, but I just ran out of points. The other guy with the ranged weapon is the guard constable there, who is an elf, and I've used some of the parts from the Oathmark elf range for that. And I haven't got the cards, I think it might have been with the set, but I've given him Precise as well, which has altered his stats. And then we also have this guy, who I've made from the horse is from the Men-at-Arms set, along with the body, and the head and arms are from the Barbarian set from Frostgrave. And this guy's got an out of towner, he's new to the, he's from the north. He's got a very sort of Skyrim-esque helmet on. He's from the north of whatever this fantasy realm is, and he's joined the guard when he's come down. Maybe he's fleeing retribution elsewhere, maybe he's trying to change his ways, but yeah, I wanted someone who's quite rough looking. And even though I don't really see him as a bully, I've given him the bully ability because it increases his might and decreases his heart. I felt it suited him a bit better, the model. And he's got the mounted ability, which is also on there as well. So that is him. Oh, and at the end we have Ogre with Spear, who's heavy. So that is essentially a squad for solo play. And to make it a squad for any other player, I just need to reduce the points cost slightly, then to 30 points. This will be their patron. I will be painting them in the red and yellow colours there. And before the game, I believe from what it says on the card, you select 3 of these randomly, discard 1, and those are your additional objectives. So these guys, despite having thugs and bullies, are actually more personable, but I just kind of liked how it felt. So these are going to be the first Guardian I'm going to do. I'm going to finish off building the second Guardian, and then I've either got 2 single players or 2 that can be used against each other as it gets in this game. So that's the guards done. So I'm going to have a look at the civilians now that I've put together. So this is the part that's by far taking the longest time, is to put the civilians together, to try and fit all these categories in. And from the actual sprue that you get, the civilian sprue, you really can't fit them all in. That's the one problem I have with the sprue, is that there are things missing. There's nothing that really shouts holy symbol to me on there. There's things you could use, and anything could really be a holy symbol, but you want something that really reflects it on the model. Thankfully we have like telescopes and stuff like that, but there's no goblets, which is an entire option on its own. And finding a model with a goblet has been pretty difficult. I've looked around, I had a look on some 3D prints, and most of the models that have goblets are either Space Marines, surprisingly, Blood Angels, or actual vampires. And I didn't really want a vampire model, but I've had to find one. And I was actually looking through my really old collection, and I found an old lead. I actually think this is lead. It smells like lead. Isabella von Karstein with a goblet. And yes, she's a vampire, but it's a really old model. I've always kind of liked this model and the original Manfred. So yeah, I must have stripped these at some point in the past of the paint. I think I got them off a car boot, these ones. And yeah, so I'm probably going to paint them up and use them in this. Another problem is there's nothing that's sort of got baked goods, and that's an entire category on its own. There are baskets in there. One looks like stew. One could be baked goods under a cloth. It's kind of random. I would have hoped they could put like just a baguette or something on the sprue, something really obvious, so that when you're looking around the battlefield, you're not staring at little things and trying to make out whether what is that bread in that bowl. Whereas you got a huge like baguette or something like that wandering around with, it obviously is, a halfling with a massive sub sandwich. It's hilarious, but also would be good. I did find this guy. It kind of looks like he's got a basket full of loaves of bread, so even something like that would have been good. I'm going to end up using him. I can't remember what set this guy's from. I seem to remember it's a pretty old one. I sort of like was looking through my bits box of models, and I must have picked him up at some point. But he's going to get used as one of the civilians. I literally just found him, that's why he's not even on the base yet. With these being metal, I'm going to have to saw that little puddle base thing he's got off. So that's some of the things I'm going to have to try and find, or just use these ones so far. I'm pretty disappointed because it wouldn't have been too bad just to stick like something like that, like a bread basket and a goblet on the sprue, like they've done with so many other things. And there's a couple of things on there you don't even really need, which are still cool to look at. Like the teapot is cool, but it's not an option on this list. So I suppose you could make your own list and change goblet to teapot. It's not really in the expensive category anymore, but I kind of would represent teapot as more of a bottle or / pot, but that's fair enough. Weaponry is no problem because tons of models have got weapons and there's plenty on the sprue. Under tools, surprisingly hard to find is some spades, but thankfully it's a broom or spade option, and you can use the staff and the bucket to make it like there's a broom maybe being put in some water or something like that, the same as a mop. So you got bucket and mop. You can kind of do the same with a broom. I've tried to find a model with a spade because I want to do like an Undertaker or a Gravedigger type model. So I'm going to keep looking around for a spade. But yeah, I think it would have been helpful to have a spade or a broom on that sprue rather than just still relying on the stick and bucket combo and just going, oh, it's actually a broom. Yeah. Little complaints like that. The fact that you can't make all the stuff. All the others you seem to sort of really get. I've not had a problem. Instrument, there's a flute. It'd be nice if there'd been a second instrument, just like something like a banjo or a little lute or something basic, like a drum. But at the same time, there's plenty of models that I can source that would have that on. The biggest of the problem is the Jester Juggler. There's nothing to really represent that at all on the sprue. A Jester's hat, you then make an entire model into it. Just a head with that would have been good, rather than having a lot of similar heads that could do other things. It would have been very specific, but it would have been useful, especially since it's an option. Or even if on one of the sprues they just had one of the juggler's stick kind of things. I mean, you can juggle anything, but it would have made it more obvious again when you're looking down at a table what that actually was. As it is, I did actually go on to Hero Forge, and I got this guy from the Dark Carnival set, who's going to make a nice Jester, and in that same set is that guy too. It's another Jester. So I've got a couple of Jesters. That's been fixed by that. Creatures, just this snake, because there was some spare snakes. And to use the geese, we've got a creature there. The other thing I wanted to say was actually on the Facebook page you can actually download a couple of STL files. That's one of them, but he really doesn't have anything on him, which is quite surprising considering it's actually for the game itself. Here's like a money bag, so you can count him as maybe having coin from the expensive category. He is kind of like a messenger or a page, I think the other one was, because I did do the other one too. There it is. But that guy actually stuck like a chest on it, so he's kind of like I don't know, he's looking after the treasure chest. as well as being a page or an envoy or whatever he's meant to be. And so basically this is what we have, a whole bunch of civilian models. I still have 2 sprues of these guys because I've augmented and added so many other models in from either printing them off or from other sets, like the Executioner here, who's going to be in the weaponry category. And a lot of them you can sort of use both categories. So this guy, Arcane, this is Marvin, the Magnificent, comes with the staff, which is fulfilling the staff category under Arcane. He also has a creature, which is Archimedes' Zell. So he actually does under the perform creature, and he also has some scrolls. And there we go. So and actually he can also be picked up as a wizard because he kind of looks like a wizard. So there's like 3 or 4 options on him. And that's what I've tried to do with some of them, and give them multiple options so they can be picked multiple times from different categories. I don't want it to be stuck with just the same person all the time. And I've also got this one here. This was just a Vevictus model, which is the name I do remember because I just subscribed to them to get some of the models. This came with the starter pack, the child. Now what I did with this was I reduced it by 20% scale wise, so it's scaled a bit better because the Vevictus models are slightly larger than these. I just felt it scaled a bit better at minus 20% on the 3D printer. I've done that with some of the models just to scale them down a bit. But there we go, so that is the collection. It's taken ages to find and build all the models. I think that's the biggest flaw with this game, because once they're done, you're not doing it the once. You've got to paint them all, obviously. But once you've built them, you've got them all. And then over time you can add more NPCs to it, which is great. But actually getting them all there at the beginning is found a bit of a challenge. I still don't have somebody with a goblet, unless I opt for a vampire, and I probably will do. Because I quite like to repaint them too. So, yeah. It's been a challenge, and it's taken ages, and I've had holiday in between various other things. So this video's taken ages to produce. Now at the top, the last thing I was going to show you was this. That I got. So this is from Cirrus Precision, and this is some of the new terrain for it, and I wanted to show you it because I do like it. So this is full colour. It literally comes like this, and then you build it. This is the Rat House and set, but you also can get it with a bank set. So I got the bank set, so it's a Rat House with the bank add-on, and I've left them separate so it can just be used as a rat house, wherever a rat house is. One thing to note, if I can get the lid off, there we go. It does have a second floor in there. As you can see, with this print is really nice. It's not too shiny. It's sort of a satin. I wouldn't say it's glossy. It looks glossy sometimes in the light, but I'd say it's more of a satin finish. I don't know what it is officially meant to be, but that's what it looks like to me. It's glossy, but it's not super glossy. Certainly not matte. Matte spray might help, actually. I'll think about that, I'm not said. But yeah, we have a second level in there. There is no underneath level. It literally is like that. You can buy that house as it is, or you can buy it in this set. I did that because it's a bank set, and that's just something I didn't actually have in my terrain was a bank. Let me get this back on me. Time me how long it takes. There we go. That's going to take ages. There we go, and then we have the bank add-on. Now as you can see, this is only printed on one side. So it looks really good because we've got all these internal walls because they double up. They make them look thick, it makes them look like they've got sort of print on both sides, but they don't. Because if you turn it around, it doesn't have print on both sides, unfortunately. That's the flaw. The biggest flaw to this, in my opinion, is that. Because obviously on the inside of these, it's just wood. And part of me is tempted just to paint it sort of grey to make it look a bit more like stone, without doing all the fanciness on it, just for quickness. But I also really don't want to, because you're not really meant to have to paint these. Got the same problem on these bits here, because this goes on front, and you could glue it on if you want. So I'm not going to, so I can turn it around. But if you turn that around, you can see that bit is also showing as wood. These bits, you are meant to either glue them on, or you can just prop them up against. Again, I'm going to prop them up against. I'd like to have the option of using this as just a normal house as well as the bank. But there we go, that is the Sarissa Tollington, I think it's called, set, which is specifically for this game. And it's the first time I've got sort of, it's not actually technically the first time, because I've got like the paint racks and stuff that have printed stuff on, but this is the first piece of scenery that I've got, which is pre-printed MDF. I really like it, it really looks good. And it doesn't look too different from what I normally use, which is the battle systems terrain, which you can see dotted around the rest of this. I'll grab one of these. Systems terrain, this is kind of what it looks like. This is card flipped together. It is printed on both sides, which is an advantage. It's relatively sturdy for card. Oh, get the right way around. There's a chimney though. It's relatively sturdy for card. I'm certainly going to be using these. They do come with bases, separate things. Another big advantage of these is you can store them quite easily, because you can just pull it apart and store them flat, which if space is a concern, it is for a lot of us, it makes them really useful. The biggest problem is then also putting them back together. It obviously takes longer to build your board when you're sticking all your buildings back together. These solve that problem, but you know, you've got to store them, and you've got to store something that size. You can take the roof off, but you can put a few things in, but you can't really break that down any further than it actually is. So they both have advantages and both have disadvantages. They both look good, and I'll be using probably a mix of them on my board. I'm probably going to get some more of these, kind of like the marketplace. Might get that next. If I do, might do an unboxing of that one. This was just a test to see whether I'll actually like them or not, and see how they look. I actually don't think they look that different. The battle systems is brighter, surprisingly, printed on the card, but they still both have that medieval, gloomy, buildingy, lived in, I don't think the word I'm looking for, oldie worldy look to them. They're not going to look at a place on the same board. Maybe right next to each other like that, because it's like a cottage and that's a bank, but not on the same board. So there we go. So this has been a long video. It's taken me a few weeks to do in little chunks. It may be a bit disjointed, so I apologise for that on the editing, because as I said, I've been on holiday in between. I've been ill and I've had a lot of other distractions, and it's taken ages to get all the models together to actually say that I've built enough to play the game. But I am now ready to go. So in the next video on this, I will actually probably play the tutorial, the intro game. So as a warning for future games, probably spoilers will be involved. Anywhere there's a plot, I'm going to overturn it. But I'll put that on the video as well if there's a spoiler. But there we go. I hope you've enjoyed it. So I hope if you want to see some more of the Guards of Traitors Toll, put it in the comments. If you want to see other things, put it in the comments. Other than that, please take care, please like, and please subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Bye bye for now.